Good afternoon. Welcome to the October 12th Civil Service Commission meeting. May we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Yakubian? Here. Commissioner Abkarian?
Here.
Vice Chair Manukian?
Here.
For the record, Commissioner Gazarian and Chair Devine are absent.
Next item, please.
Minutes for the meeting of September 14, 2016.
Move to approve and dispense with reading.
Second.
Okay, we have a first. We have
Unanimous consent.
unanimous consent. Next item, please.
Oral communications.
I have no cards. Next item, please.
Recruitment and examination report.
Mr. Doyle.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this is a note and file report. It shows our recruitment activity since that is currently in effect. This report shows recruitment by each individual recruitment, by the department, by staff, open and closed dates, dates of the various exams. As you can see from the report, fairly busy times for us, 71 total recruitments in various stages. Last fiscal year, we were hovering around 50, so it's up pretty big. But otherwise, that's the report. If you have questions or concerns, I'd be happy to try and answer them. Once again, it is a note and file item. So.
Any questions?
Noted. When it goes from 50 to 71, do the staff get a raise? Or? All right, just
Noted and filed. Next item, please.
Eligible list established.
Mr. Doyle.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this too is a note and file item. This has our eligible lists that have been established since our last meeting. As you can see, 11 lists established, 3 of them open, 4 promotional, and 4 were promotional and open. As you can see, again, a lot of activity, particularly when we have the open recruitments where you see numbers of 100 and 366 and high numbers like that as far as our applications. But again, the far right column shows, after having gone through the process, the number of individuals who ultimately make it on the list. And as you can see, that's a much smaller number than we generally start with. Once again, this is a note and file item. If you have questions, I'd be happy to try and answer those for you.
Any questions? Noted and filed. Next item, please.
Class specifications for approval, fire engineer, fire captain, and fire battalion chief.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this item these are revisions to the entire promotional series within the sworn fire department section. We have the engineer, captain, and battalion chief. And in advance of going forth with some recruitments on these, we need to fix the specifications that govern these classifications. All of the positions within this series require certifications that are offered by the state of California, the Fire Marshal's Office. These certifications are in the process of being overhauled by the state, and the old requirements are being replaced with new ones. So we wanted to revise the minimum requirements for our specifications to ensure that we're not going to discount the classes and curriculum that our staff, our firefighters have already taken, but we also want to recognize the new requirements that are now part of this, and those will be effective January 1st of 2017. We've worked extensively with our Firefighters Association and trying to figure out the new certifications, and again, setting this up in a way that's fair for everyone interested in essentially moving up and promoting. There's a great deal of detail in these reports, and if you have questions, I'd be happy to try and answer those for you. We also have Chief Greg Fish from the Glendale Fire Department and Ms. Hunanian from my staff who put this together.
Any questions?
I just have one recommendation. On the skills in applying common sense and logic in decision making, I really think that that's just not necessary to even have in here. I don't even really know what it means. I'm assuming that they would apply common sense and logic in decision making. Do we really need to say that in here?
It disqualifies me, I guess.
Thank God you're not in the fire.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, that's boilerplate language, and it's something that's there similar to the ability to read, write, and comprehend directions in English. It's the Commission's call. If you want to see that removed,
it would just make it seem like we didn't even read it if we leave it in there. I really do want to take it out.
Okay.
There's it's not necessary for it to be there at all.
I think we have this on a lot of items, so as they come along, we can...
certainly.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to take out skills in applying common sense and logic in decision making.
You probably don't need a motion for that, but if you want to make a recommendation to adopt without that language, that would be sufficient.
Which is what my
That's what it
motion
was
would be.
doing, yeah.
Adopt all three at the same time?
You may.
Okay, adopt all three with
You
that
okay with
one
that?
notation without that. Oh, do you have a question?
No, I'm okay
You're
with
okay with
that
that? Okay.
change.
Yeah, it's unanimous. I just also want to congratulate Chief Fish for doing a great job for recruitment and the entire department. So keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Next item, please.
Job bulletin for approval, Fire Battalion Chief.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this is a bulletin for approval. The previous item was a specification. This bulletin is for Fire Battalion Chief, and as this is a sworn safety promotional position, our civil service rules do require that this be brought before you for your approval. This bulletin is fully consistent with the class specification for Fire Battalion Chief, and the bulletin itself and the examination components are consistent with its last administration of this exam, which was approximately a year ago. So we therefore are requesting to have your approval on this. Should you approve it, we would open it on Monday, the 17th, and hopefully have an exam between now and the end of the year on this.
Okay. Any questions?
Move to approve with the same changes before.
Second.
Okay. Unanimous consent. Next item, please.
Class specifications for approval, Assistant Director of Library Arts and Culture and Principal Library Arts and Culture Administrator.
Mr. Doyle.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, these are revisions to existing class specifications within our Library Arts and Culture Department. The two that we're looking at here, the first is an assistant director, and this specification was last amended in 1992, which is actually an eternity. A lot has changed in the library field since then. In fact, it's a little bit misleading. We haven't actually filled this position or utilized this position in, I think, about 10 years since the last person actually held it. But we are planning to go out and recruit for it, so we felt it was time to clean it up quite a bit. And again, between 1992 and today, the library system has gone through an incredible change, a lot more technology driven as opposed to books and periodicals. So Ms. Cleary is going out looking for a very strong second in command within this organization. As far as the other position, the Principal Library Arts and Culture Administrator, this is a position that was established last year with sort of a limited focus on the arts and culture end of the library function, which had recently moved over to the library section from, I believe it was in the Parks Department prior to that. But we do have a need to sort of broaden this specification more and try to broaden the scope and address some general oversight issues, in particular somebody to deal with, again, a lot of the technology that is contained within the library system. So with that, we have some rather extensive changes in these two specifications, and again, if you have questions, be happy to try and answer them. Ms. Cleary is here today, as well as Ms. Abramian from my staff.
Any questions?
Move to approve with the same omissions as before on
Okay.
both.
All right. A unanimous consent. Next item, please.
Was there a second?
I seconded.
Class specification for approval, Electric Services Administrator.
Mr. Doyle.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this is a specification as well that is being approved. Similar to the last one, this specification was last updated in 1992. guess that was a very good year for specification updates. I don't know. This position is very important. It'll be overseeing the electrical distribution section. Lots of changes, obviously, since 1992, but a lot of the same as far as the electrical engineering side of it. Much of it is very, very similar. This is a position that we're seeking a registered professional engineer for. This individual will report to a Chief Assistant General Manager who oversees electrical services and our power generation. If approved, we have a recruitment that will follow. And if the Commission has any questions, be happy to try and answer them. And today we have Mr. Steve Zern here, as well as Mr. Nersessian from my staff, if you have further details on this.
Okay, any questions?
Move to approve that one section has already been deleted. Great.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
That is very interesting.
Fast. We catch on to
Okay,
this.
we have a second and unanimous consent, and Mr. Zern, it's approved. And same as I shared with as far as your department is doing a phenomenal job. Thank you for everything
The
you guys
utility
did.
locator is separate series? We have to
Separate,
do that
yes.
separately?
It'll be a separate one.
Next item, please.
Last specification for approval, utility locator series.
Okay, Mr. Doyle.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this is a revision of a specification, and it's mostly the revision relates to the addition of a senior level utility locator. This series has been in effect since 2012. There are some changes to it, but for the most part, it's the primary change is the addition of that senior utility locator. Again, these are employees who do their part to keep track of and mark the underground utilities, electrical cables, pipes, and things like that to ensure that these utilities don't get damaged in any kind of digging or excavation work. There's quite a lot of things that are now underground, and again, it's a classification that we're open to update. And again, if you have questions, I'd be happy to try and answer.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
Unanimous consent. Thank you. Thank you. Next item, please.
Reports.
Oh,
Mr.
Mr.
Chair,
Doyle.
the only one we have is the past due performance evaluations, and as you see the report before you, looks very good.
It does.
I will say
Some
that
people said it could not be done.
I will say that
We won't say who.
every time the Commission brings this up to talk about, there seems to be a vast improvement in how these are handled, and I don't know
We're
if
going to
that's
get it down to 24-hour turnaround.
I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but nevertheless, it's looking pretty good. With the exception of one department, we're almost perfect all the way down the line. So this is a note and file item. Thank the Commission for their continued vigilance on this, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them for you.
Any questions? Noted and filed. Next item, please.
Civil Service Commission staff comments.
Any comments? Next item, please.
Adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Yes.
We're done.